Hey everybody, welcome back to Subnautica. It's a little quiet here, I don't know why, I think the music hasn't cut in yet. In the last episode, we built the Sea Glide, the Sea Moth, which is outside right now, you can see its little beacon waypoint there, and also I died. Yay! No, that's not a good thing. I mentioned this before, I mentioned this again, you only lose items in your inventory if you haven't secured them by entering and exiting a base slash, well, yeah, base slash pod slash thing like that. But yes, we have the sea moth now. We can now navigate this terrain much more easily. And in this episode, I think we're going to be doing some base building, expanding the base outwards and making it much more fabulous. So, without further ado, let's get started. For anyone viewing this episode for the first time, or well, viewing this episode first, previous to the others, I recommend going ahead and watching the previous episodes. And thanks to some friends of mine, I am going to be doing some, actually putting an outro in so you can select some other things and even have a link to my channel in the description and all, even though, or not channel, but a Twitter page and all. So if you wish to subscribe to go to that as well, I'll be probably updating that soon. You'll have a look at also some of the handful of drawings I do have on my page as well. But yes, we're going to be doing some base construction. With me, I kind of want to make my structure look pretty realistic at the same time. Also, it looks both nice and functional. There's not really many rooms that have no purpose in my base. There's no needless extra bits. And yes, if you're wondering, if you're watching this and wondering why I haven't used pipes, it's just mostly because I don't know. I don't know why I haven't used them, to be honest, but I just haven't. But I guess we'll get into the idea of how the base is, more how the base works now that we actually are starting to build more. So when constructing a base, you're going to need to make sure structural integrity is at a certain point. If you do not have the right structural integrity, the base's walls will start to break and it'll start to flood. Oddly enough, even when it's above water, this physics will still happen. So yeah, that's interesting to say the least. Let's see, what else are we thinking of here? Can't really think straight right now. When it comes to, don't worry about that. When it comes to other things, you also, well, yeah, foundations. I'm kind of blabbering here, aren't I? Okay, so when you're building a base, you want to make sure you have a structural integrity above a certain limit. Otherwise, the place is going to start, bulkheads are start going to break, and the place is going to flood, and that's obviously a bad thing. To fix this, you either build more foundations, or yeah, you build more foundations, or you build yourself a yeah, more foundations, or what I was talking about. Or you build structural integrity devices within the walls of the base itself. This will reinforce the base with only taken up by putting in reinforcement in the wall panels of any of the chambers within the base's structure. And provides a larger quantity of structural reinforcement than that of a single foundation. While you can also make the place look more pretty by adding windows, but this reduces the structural integrity every time. Yeah, this reduces the structural integrity of the base by, I think, 1 point each time you put a new window in. Now, typically, I mean, this is a pretty interesting idea, but I'm just trying to kind of figure out where I want to put everything, but oh yeah, hatches also reduce structural integrity of the facility, or the structure. So you got to keep that in mind when you're building. You can also put various bulkheads in to prevent interior flooding, so, as it says there, basically what it just prevents the structure. If say one part of the hull is breached, the entire place can't be breached. Aside from just being forced to swim in there, there is real no negative to structural hull failure. And the only reason why you would want a bulkhead is to prevent, say, the entire place from flooding if you can't get a welding torch. Let's see, what else am I kind of thinking of here, or thinking that needs to be said? Let's see. If I'm correct, and I'm kind of upset about this as well, quartz is not spawning anymore, if you haven't noticed. It's kind of empty quartz-wise around here. Also, yes, I just did get silver from here. I mentioned before, you can get it most often in the red grass, but it is findable down here in these kelp forests. It's just a little more riskier down in the kelp forest due to the fact of the infinite supply of bleeders and the stalkers, where it's a little more safer at the grass level, mostly because you only have the sand sharks to deal with. But I think once we get our mitts on a better base, I think we'll go exploring, actually. So it's not going to be fully a base building episode, we're just going to build up our base a tiny bit. And then we're going to go out and explore and potentially, hopefully, get more glass. Now, I mentioned before the Seamoth is modular. It can be upgraded with various modules, but in order to construct those modules, we need to build something known as a moon pool. And in order to build the moon pool, we need to get its blueprint. Or, yeah, we're going to need to get the blueprint. In order to do that, we're going to need to first locate it. A fragment. Unfortunately, the moon pool and other such structures were also lost during the events of the Aurora's crash landing, and now we have to figure out what to do about that as well. So let's add another locker here real quick. I'll kind of explain what we're going to be doing in a quick second. So, in short, what we're going to be doing, aside from just... well, first off, we're going to see if we can locate the moon pool's facility. That's better. We might actually make some more water, too, while we're at it. Do we have any salt? Yes, we do. Do we have any coral? No, we don't. Also, giving a recent update, we can also make a water purifier. I'll get into that in a bit, but yeah, what the water purifier does is it gives you a more infinite supply of water and salt, so you can make infinite bleach and stuff like that. And I believe only at the cost of the fact you need to locate its fragment under the ocean and all. Let's see here. I'll just... In real life, we'd probably just be jeopardizing a massive ecosystem by just cutting that one piece of coral due to the fact of how sensitive the coral reef is. If you go deep sea diving, or not even deep sea diving, just reef swimming, do not touch a thing. For the sake of the ecosystem, do not touch a thing. That stuff is incredibly sensitive. I should know. I've been there before. I haven't touched anything and endangered the life of a coral, but I'm just saying that's what you don't want to do. Many of my friends ask me also, why did I do this game first for my first ever LP or just walkthrough or whatever? The reason is because I wanted to do something outside of my comfort zone immediately, just to see how I'd work, just to see how it would work and all. And to be honest, immediately it's feeling like I've chose right, because yes, I'm doing this, but I could have just done something, say StarCraft or something else like that, which I will be doing in the future. But I wanted to kind of get an idea of what it felt like to be outside of my immediate comfort zone. Also, I forgot to grab something. Yay. We left just to turn around. This sounds familiar. I was going to grab two things. One, I was going to make another hatch to get out of here, so that way we can facing towards the kelp forest. And two, I was wanting to make us a rebreather. If you're wondering what the squeaking is, again, my chair. So let's see here. Where would the rebreather go? Oh. Never mind, I'm not sure if we're going to be making the rebreather, because we need it over the helmet, I think. Eh, I guess we'll make it anyway. So we're going to need some silicon rubber and some silver. Do we have any more silver? No. Figures. Oh well. I guess we'll go quickly get that then. It's rather convenient that this alien planet happens to have the largest quantities of rutile we'll need to actually fabricate any of the stuff we do need. Because if it didn't, that'd be kind of inconvenient. Also, if you're wondering why I'm saying rutile, it's because it's just the alternate word for titanium. Or an alternate word for titanium. It's probably the more impure form. Okay, so before we actually start heading to the deeper depths and farther distances, there are other predators or such semi-prey fish we have to deal with. One of them is going to be the mesmer. Now, in this game, you want to avoid the mesmer if you possibly can, but be warned, it's a hypnotist fish. Once it gets sight of you, and once you catch sight of it, it will start trying to mesmerize you and get closer to you. Doing so will then open up a set of flaps and bite you with its actual mouth, which is a series of very pointy, spiky teeth. So that's a bad thing. So wondering, does this... Yes it is, it's needed to be equipped. Great. Either way, now that we have this, it might be a little better once we get the stuff we do need. So normally I don't go to the Aurora once we get our oh. Yeah, so normally I don't go to the Aurora until after I get my hands on the Cyclops, but we might actually have to turn that into an earlier thing. We might need to go earlier. Mostly because that way we can get this rad suit off. Because personally, I don't want to wear this thing for eternity. And I really want to kind of show off the other pieces of armor, or gear. Also RIP hoopfish. Or hoverfish, or whatever you want to call it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go do our... we're going to go exploring for deeper material. And what we're going to need to locate is we're going to need to locate ourselves some... Yeah, we're going to need to locate ourselves some more blueprints. Now, as with going farther away from the home, it also has the greater risks of more dangerous sea life. So I'm just going to make sure I'm not heading in the wrong direction. By wrong direction, I mean straight towards the Aurora. The reason why is because the Aurora has guarded by 2 Reaper Leviathans, and they are the only things, that will actively grab and throw the sea moth like a toy.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
So that's the thing you want to be wary about. Speaking of the Aurora, this is one of its crashes, or wreckages. Now, recently updated to the game where the fact that wreckages of the Aurora can actually show up here, and they can contain some useful stuff. So actually, we might want to go explore this. Now, we're going to probably need to head back to home soon and get a laser cutter. Which is probably what we need to do. So, I think this will be the end of the episode. We found this wreckage, we did a bit of exploring.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
We might... So I think in the next episode what we'll do is we might come back here and explore the wreckage of this with a brand new laser cutter. See you guys... Oh. A signal. Interesting. But yes. I think what we'll do is, the next episode we will continue to explore this and get ourselves the laser cutter so we can figure out exactly what else we can find in here. See you guys